It all started with two strange words that happened to be not so strange. Come on, I'm not talking about a fish. Yeah, I was wondering along those lines too. That was until I did a little Google search, and what I found was super interesting.
I was already in a financial crisis.
So there are these groups of companies operating illegally within Nigeria, Asia, and some other third world countries. At the surface, they seem legit. Their job is to offer remedy to people suffering from one financial emergency to another. With the high level of poverty and the relative irresponsibility of the governments in these regions, these companies have found a safe haven to operate without any form of regulation or even need to register with the authorities. They set up shop, in this case online, offer help with the one hand and use the other to take back all the clients have and hold so dearly. And they go about this in the most brutal way possible, all while gathering data for their billionaire owners who reside in the second largest economy in the world. Yeah, I mean you, China. This is the story of the illegal loan cartel plaguing Nigeria and other third world countries, and how the seemingly legit ones are beginning to copy from the playbook of these monsters, taking turns to ruin Nigerians with ridiculously high interest loans, all while stealing and selling their data to brokers on the black market.
The strategy behind that is to trap people in a forever debt.
To gauge the effect of these loan companies on Nigerians, I asked for victims to come forward and share their stories. The result left me deeply sad and worried.
Until now, I'm paying 𝗘𝗃𝗂𝗧𝘂𝗵 190.
Back in August 2022, a tutor at a coding school in Nigeria found himself in a very terrible fix. He had sent a friend to Lagos to help him get some items, but the money he had was not enough, so he thought it wise to seek help. While on the lookout for funds, a certain company called 𝗘𝗃𝗂𝗃𝗃 came to his rescue. He was loaned 18,000 naira to pay back 23,000 naira in the space of 14 days. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem because his salary was always paid at the end of the month and August was already racing to its tail end. But things don't always seem to work out the way we plan, and it wasn't meant to be this time either. As the gods will have it, August breezed to an end, but salaries seemed to be held up somehow. From the 23,000 naira he was meant to pay back to 𝗘𝗃𝗂𝗃𝗃, he could only get 5,000 naira, and this would mark the beginning of his ordeal.
Around 6 a.m., a message popped in.
It started with a call from a man who claimed to be an agent of 𝗘𝗃𝗂𝗃𝗃. He was one of the many people tasked with collecting the repayments from clients. His job was to get these monies at all costs, and our guy here happened to be on his radar. "Why haven't you paid back your loan?" the agent queried. This co-tutor, who was already frightened as to what the outcome of this default would be, pleaded with the agent to give him more time. 1 or 2 weeks max, he said, explaining how his salary has been delayed and will require a bit more time to raise the money. The client pleaded his case, hoping to find some sympathy from the loan agent. What he failed to understand, however, is that loan agents don't have that word in their dictionary. The next morning, this tutor would wake up to calls and text messages, not from the loan agent this time, but from his contacts, some of whom he had not spoken to in a long time. The contacts were disappointed in him for allowing spam callers to harass them, all because he took some loans and refused to pay back. But that wasn't all. The loan company had reached out to his fiance's parents and told them that he used their names as guarantors to borrow 18,000 naira and has refused to pay back. They called him a liar, a thief, and a criminal who was on the run and should be apprehended at all costs. Well, he managed to pay back the loan and the accrued interest, but that didn't stop 𝗘𝗃𝗂𝗃𝗃 from calling his future in-laws once again. This time though, they told them that he was yet to pay the overdue fees of 20,000 naira. This was after paying back the loan. He lost his job, his relationship, and his reputation, while 𝗘𝗃𝗂𝗃𝗃 carried on his business as usual. Their next victim was someone who had found the app as somewhat of a soft landing. After taking the first few loans without minding the high interest rates, which sometimes could reach 30 to 40%, it quickly became a habit of some sort. That was until he found it difficult to pay back on one occasion and the threats began. He explained how he had been a long-time customer and that he was certainly going to pay back, but again, no sympathy. Just like in the first story, all his contacts got the memo. 𝗘𝗏𝗃𝗃 took the opportunity to tarnish his image, calling him a thief and that his family were thieves. It was horrifying. And after weeks of torment from contacts who kept insulting him for using them as guarantors, he decided to drop the SIM card and never used it again. But this script is not peculiar to 𝗘𝗏𝗃𝗃. Ever heard of 𝗃𝗏𝘂𝗧𝘂𝗧 loan? They were notorious for this act of harassing customers for even the slightest delay in payments. And there was also 𝗫𝗏𝗃𝗃, and then 𝗘𝗏𝗂𝐻, 𝗫𝗏𝗃𝐻, and 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃. All of these were notorious for their cyberbullying and using illegal means to get their money back from clients, all while suffocating them with ridiculously high interest rates. But these are not the only loan companies operating in Nigeria. There seem to be some legit ones. Companies that are supposedly registered and licensed by the authorities. But when I started to hear their stories, I became truly worried. This is Opay, a mobile money platform operated by Opay Digital Services Limited and licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Opay was launched in June 2018, and since that time, the company has spread its services across all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory in Nigeria with over 500,000 mobile money merchants. This is according to their own website. A company this big must have some good customer service, right? And since they are regulated by the central bank, it means they must be compliant with privacy laws and also learn to avoid cyberbullying, don't you think? Well, that was my guess too, until I got a story from a customer who was subjected to some embarrassing treatment by Opay. This customer, who we will call Joy for the purpose of protecting her identity, told me that during this period, she was really broke in school. She decided to take a loan of 5,000 naira from Opay with the interest coming to about 1,800 naira. She was given a few days to repay the loan. When it was due, she made a transfer of the total sum, but somehow it didn't reflect on the app. She had sent the money from her first bank account. Now, if you're familiar with a school setup in Nigeria, you will agree with me that not all schools have branches of all these major banks waiting for customers to come in with complaints. Joy said she was already debited by First Bank and there was no branch anywhere close to her school, so there was practically no way to verify if the transaction went through or not. I hear 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗃's cashless policy crying, but anyways, it was judgment day for Joy and her day was about to be joyless as strange numbers started calling using vulgar words, saying she was very irresponsible and will be dealt with. Added to the threats were insults and even more threats. Mind you, she had just made a payment on the due date, but it was not reflecting on the app. It could be network, it could be a delay from First Bank, as they always do. But Opay was not having any of that. They refused to be reasonable or even give her the benefit of the doubt. Well, Joy decided to test their customer care on WhatsApp and showed them her debit alert. They said they were going to verify, but after a while, the agent got back to her saying they didn't receive it. She tried to explain that the problem was probably from her bank and it might take a while to rectify since there was no branch around. She even sent an email to her bank and, like the normal bank protocol, they asked for 48 hours. But in that 48 hours, Joy was subjected to the biggest horror of her life. She kept getting the threat calls and text messages warning her of what will befall her if she doesn't return the company's money. No, I'm not talking about 𝗃𝗏𝗧𝘂𝗧 loan. And no, it's not about 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 or even 𝗘𝗏𝗃𝗃. This was done by Opay, a company licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to carry out financial services. I found this deeply concerning, but to avoid jumping into conclusions, I tried reaching out to the company to get their response to these allegations, but I couldn't get any from them. That was when I decided to go all out to investigate how these loan apps really work.
I will enter into your contact, I will defame you. Is that what you want? I will defame you. I will spoil your life, spoil your name, spoil your family's name. Your mother will cry over you. to hear me the wish they never gave back to you. You're a stupid bastard. Who the fuck do you think you're fucking with? Are you mad or something?
Typically, when you are in need of a loan, there are two options out there for you. Usually a bank or credit union. Now, as an average person in the society without assets and in need of financing for your small business or even family emergency, the banks are never going to take a second look at you. So, if you find yourself in this sort of situation, what do? That is where the other money lenders come in. So, how do you build a money lending business to milk these large numbers of citizens that will never be able to obtain a loan from the banks? Well, easy. I'm sure you already know you're going to need an app. With this app, you can offer amounts ranging from as low as 5,000 naira to as high as 1 million naira. Don't worry about the figures. For anyone to be able to get that 1 million naira, they will have to be regular customers. And what do regular customers do? Well, they keep borrowing. So you just need them to be addicted to borrowing from you and you're good. Well, now that your app is ready, you can use targeted advertising. Look for people not doing so well. Students in public universities will make a great catch. Remember, you're not looking for people who will repay your loans and not come back. This is a business, so you need them to keep coming back for more. But how do you do that? Well, let's say you keep increasing the amount they can borrow with every payback. So if customer A borrows 5,000 naira, when he pays back, you can increase his borrowing limit to about 10,000 naira. Trust me, he will borrow from somewhere else to pay back that 5,000 naira just so he can get access to the 10,000 naira. So you see, you need to feed on their greed, But how about those that are just having a bad time and in some sort of financial difficulty for the time being? How do you bring them back? Well, it's pretty easy, that one. You need to make sure your interest rates are very high. Yes, give them the money without paperwork. No need to do any background checks or investigate their income source or anything like that. You'll be fine with just getting their names, BVN, ATM card details, and the juicy parties. You will get access to all their contacts, SMS, call logs, and a lot of interesting data. Do you know how much data is worth? Just give them the money and demand high interest. The interest rates can be as high as 75% to 395% per year. If they default, you can harass them, send threatening messages, call all their contacts, and as for the interest, it keeps piling, and that is the good part. Then you can also introduce something called the default fee, which will also keep adding up for as long as they remain in default. This is a great business plan, and if you use their data well enough, you will know exactly who to target with your ads on social platforms that they visit. Wait a minute, Jude. How do I get them to sign up if I put everything out there like that about their privacy, not even guaranteed? Oh, come on. Some of these people don't even know what privacy policy looks like. They will never read it. Just hide it there and make sure they click on agree to all policies for them to access the app. And to make it better, include in your policies that they are not allowed to take screenshots of the app and share on social media. They cannot share private messages or anything related to your app with the public. Trust me, they will agree, and they need the money, So that's it? I guess so. This is the structure and mode of operations of these loan apps. But how are the authorities not responding to this with the full force of the law? The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, during one of their raids on these illegal loan apps, discovered that the workers at the sites were unemployed graduates who do not have any other means of livelihood. The loan agents even tried to riot against the federal agency for preventing them from doing what their job is. They said, quote, the Chinese gave them employment and the federal government did not, and the federal government said they should not continue with what they are doing, adding that they felt it proper to attack the agency as a result. But hold on a second, did I just hear the Chinese give them employment? This is quite interesting. So what role has China got to play here? Is there a cartel we should be worried about? 𝗬𝗃cije is a financial institution established in 2019 and licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to operate as a finance company in Nigeria. The company provides loan, investment, and financial advisory solutions to clients across the private and public sectors. If you are familiar with financial services such as Palm Credit and 𝗬𝗏𝗂𝗧, this is their parent company. Palm Credit prides itself as the #1 online loan services company in Nigeria, while 𝗬𝗏𝗂𝗧 claims to make it easier for consumers to buy a phone. You may be wondering what's up with Palm Credit and 𝗬𝗏𝗂𝗧. It started with this phone call I stumbled upon on Twitter.
You get okay?
My name.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Okay, calm down now. You don't turn doctor. You ask me about my head. I'm fine.
Are you okay?
And you, how are you doing?
𝗬𝗏𝗂𝗧, your loan with Palm Credit 14,400. When are you making your payment?
My loan with Palm Credit 14,400. I'm not making my payment. Come and do what you want to do. You think all these are big bets? Okay, calm down first. You think all these are big bets?
Now Allah where you dey serve go punish you for everything wey you dey do. Shey you know your religion side.
Wow.
They use Allah dey play now. Now Allah na go punish you on top wetin you dey do.
No dey Allah give me loan now. No dey Allah.
There's another interesting company that caught my attention when researching online loan companies. Opay. We've talked about their story. This company is owned by 𝗬𝗃𝗂𝗧𝘂𝗵. Forgive me, it's a Chinese name. The Chinese billionaire owner of Opera is also the owner of Opay, which is also the owner of 𝗘𝗏𝗂𝗧𝘂𝗏. I find this discovery disturbing considering how invasive Opera has been of late, and knowing how China loves data. I placed a call through to an official from Opay to get their response to these allegations, but I didn't get a response from them. Now, when you take a look at some other online loan companies harassing Nigerians, you will find something very interesting. Health Credit and other companies coming up after the crackdown on their operations are all owned by 𝗘𝗾𝘂𝗧𝗂𝗪 International Limited. The company is owned by some Chinese allies. And then we have 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗧𝗂𝗪, which is allegedly owned by a Chinese company known as Tencent Holdings. 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗧 is the president of 𝗬𝗃𝗃 Financial Services Incorporation, and then 𝗳𝗃𝗃𝗃 is owned and managed by 𝗘𝗀𝗀 Loan Lending Company. PalmPay is owned and managed by Transnet. Transnet is a partnership venture between NetEase and Transsion Holdings. Transsion Holdings is the manufacturer of the itel, 𝗘𝗏𝘂𝗧𝗂𝗪 and Infinix brands. PalmPay is a company duly licensed under the Central Bank of Nigeria to provide mobile money services, including mobile payment services to both the banked and the unbanked, and to drive financial inclusion in Nigeria, according to their website. The truth here is, according to an investigation done by David Mundane, whose works I have been featuring a lot on my channel already, these loan apps have absolutely no power to take any action against defaulters beyond the threatening messages and fabrications. It has always been a risky business for them from day one. So, why do these Chinese companies keep giving out these loans when they know for certain that they have no guaranteed way of getting their money back? In the next episode, we will try to hear from the companies as we learn how they are connected to the world of data brokers. You will get to know what they do with your data. This one is not peculiar to the loan companies. The notorious world of data brokers will tell the story of another cartel that preys on innocent Nigerians without them even knowing it. I hope to get a response from these loan companies before that episode comes live. Thanks for watching. Check out this video showing up on your screen right now, and I'll see you inside.